Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Anna again. Today I'm sharing this tutorial with you with this gel nail spread. So I will walk you through step by step what I'm doing and what materials I'm using. So as you can see, I'm using washi tape. This is a washi tape from the Lovely Factory. It's a lovely design, like a diamond's shape. So I'm just tearing different length of the strips and applying them in vertical way. So as you can see, there's nothing complicated, very simple. You can put them in a horizontal way, whichever suits you. I like to work in a vertical way with my journal, so today this is what I will do. Now I'm using clear gesso from the Crafter Workshop. The reason I'm using clear gesso because I want my washi tape to be visible. I don't want to have a full coverage. So you will see later on that it will be picking through in my project. Okay, so I'm using just a sponge, like a brush sponge, to apply my gesso. You can use an ordinary brush, you can use even a fingers or the sponges, the choice is yours. Okay. And obviously you have to remember to dry your gesso before you take to the next step. Now I will be using Lindy's Stamp Gang Spray, Glory of the Seas Gold. It's a lovely spray with a bit of like a shimmer gold shade. So I'm just spraying randomly just to create a little bit of a color, just to add a bit of interest to this project. As you can see, my spray is dripping down, so I'm just helping to blend it nicely with the brush. If you prefer to have a drips on your page, then you can leave it as it is and dry it. It's your choice how you're going to do it. I'd like to have them nicely blended. I don't want the very harsh drips on my pages, so I'm just helping with the brush. And then obviously you have to make sure you dry the pages before you take to the next level, because if you apply next color, then you can create a bit of a mud and it turn to black at some point. So just be mindful with that. Now I'm using another spray, Azure Asters. This is a lovely blue shade spray. I'm just spraying small amount of it, and again helping with the brush to blend it in my pages. If you think the color is gone in the wrong places, if it's gone too dark, you can always use the baby wipe and dab off the color from your pages, so it will not be as much harsh as it is. Now I'm using AALL Create stamp, and I'm using Archival ink in a grey shade. I'm stamping randomly just to add a bit of an interest to my pages. Here we go. You can use any other color of ink if you wish. You can use black, you can use blue, you can use yellow, just to go with the color scheme you are already playing with. Just don't introduce too many colors into your project, because that will be just a bit of a maybe like too much. Now this is a beautiful stamp from AALL Create again. This one is designed by Tracy Evans, and I'm using wool embossing powder, wool embossing pad to apply my stamp to add to my pages. I'm using also Ranger anti-static pad to remove any of the staticness on my pages, so my embossing powder will go to places where I want it to go, if that makes sense. Okay. So this is what I'm doing, just pressing to my pages. And And now I will be using embossing powder. This is my first embossing powders what I've ordered from Lindy Stamp Gang. And my impression with them, wow, it's really lovely embossing powder. It gives that shimmer to your project. It kind of like a bit of a metallic as well, so it's really nice. Obviously it depends what set you're gonna get, but this one is really lovely. I think this one is called Morning Glory Azure embossing powder. I will give you all the product what I'm playing with today in the description box below the video, so you can always have a look and get the product if you wish so. Okay, so now I'm heating up the pages to melt the embossing powder. I'd like to apply my heating tool from the bottom of the pages first, so my embossing powder will not fly off when I start heating from the top. So it's already pre-melted, so I'm just finishing off from the top. That's the way I like to do it. If you want to do it other way, the choice is obviously yours. Okay. Just to make sure you will heat it well and melt your embossing powder. So as you see, it creates this beautiful shimmer, like a kind of metallic accents into your project. Now I'm using just the ordinary cardstock. I've got 3 strips here, and again I'm using a wool embossing pad to apply my stamp to these strips, and I will be embossing my image with black embossing powder. This one I will be using, it's from Heat It Up black embossing powder. So there we go, that's my embossing powder. And if your image didn't transfer very well as you wanted to be, once you emboss the first layer of your embossing powder, you can always go back and correct your image. Therefore, I'm using a wool embossing pen just to correct a little bit of a flower in areas when it didn't transfer too well. And again I'm applying embossing powder and again heat it up. So quite simple really. Okay, so I've created 3 strips with the same image, and I'm using Neocolor's water soluble pencils. They are very highly pigmented, and I will use a water brush to blend my color to the project. So firstly I'm applying a very tiny layer of a color and slowly building up the layers with getting more intense color. And the same I'm applying color into hexagon areas because I want to fussy cut some of them and add it to my project for extra interest. So you will see what I mean in a bit when I finish coloring and fussy cutting. So I think this is quite simple, quite basic project what I'm creating. So if you want to follow the idea, if you want to follow the materials and create something similar, feel free to tag me into your project so I can also have a look and comment on your project. That will be nice to see what you will come up with. Okay, so I fussy cutted my elements And now I will use gel medium from Crafter Workshop to adhere my images to the page. Now I'm just checking where the images will go, if I'm happy with the composition, and then I will adhere them with the gel medium. So you can play around with images you have until you're satisfied with the composition, and then you can glue it down. Okay, so this is the way I like to do. Just try it out first where things, if they go nice there before I adhere them, because once you adhere them, it might start drying, so if you want to pull it off, you might create a hole in your project, and that's not something what you want to do really. So it's best to create a composition first and then start adhering to the pages. So as you see, I'm taking my time with that. There's no rush, it's just nice relaxing project. And I really adore this stamp. I was looking for this stamp in so many places and I couldn't find it, but lovely lady from the AALL Create group greatly offered me this stamp, and she sent it to me with an immediate effect, so I'm truly grateful for that. So you know who you are. I'm not going to mention names. There we go. So that's what you do. You just adhere in pieces to your pages. You can go over on top with gel medium as well, so that will create nice sealed coat to your images, just in case you want to add any more of mediums on top. So for example, if you will be adding any splatters, it will not soak into your images. It will pop out, it will stay out of it. Okay, so I have these 3 flowers and a few hexagons around it. I think it's an interesting composition. So if you think of anything else, then the choice is yours. Remember, you are the limit. There's no limit in craft. So I'm happy with that. Obviously you need to dry your gel medium before you take to next level. Now I'm using Maremi Small Art stickers. My dear friend Marta created this beautiful set of stickers which are absolutely perfect to your art journaling, even for cards. So you can always pop into her page and do some shopping. I will leave you a link below in the description box if you fancy do a bit of a shopping. Now, as you can see, I'm playing around with the sticker where I want to place it before I actually adhere it to the pages completely. So I thought it will go nicely in the bottom corner because I think this is a good place for this sticker to go. Now a little bit of acrylic paint to add the splatters to finish it off my project, and I'm diluting acrylic paint with a bit of water and then just applying with a fine brush and tip it off. That's how the splatters, not like a big blob, they are nice and small splatters. I've seen some people using fan brush for splatters. I don't own that kind of brush, so I don't know what's the comparison. So you can you can choose what you have around. Now I'm using this Sakura micro pen just to add a bit of a interest to my project, and I'm creating kind of like a frame around my edges. I'm not very neat with that, I'm not very precise, I'm just drawing some lines, kind of like irregular lines, they're not very straight, so I like that. If you prefer any other way of creating a border to your project, then the choice is yours. I think it's kind of interesting just not to be perfect, so the lines are a bit of a wonky. That's what I like in my project. You can go as many times as you want to make your lines more visible. There we go. So this is a close-up of my art journal. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you do, please subscribe to my channels for more videos to come. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye bye for now.